or we wait?
That's good to go.
So do I start or you people, one of you is going
I'll
to
just
do
do a
some?
quick introduction, ma'am, and then
Yeah.
you can take the floor.
Yes.
My voice is audible, right?
Your voice is very audible.
Okay.
Am I audible? I'm more concerned. Are you able to hear me? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Okay. So good evening and welcome, everyone, to our first session of the Talkmasters series. My name is Bhavan Jain, and I'm a convener at the We Speak, IT Bombay's English-speaking arts club. We as a club take part in debate tournaments, organize sessions with keynote speakers like these, and host other events and practice bars to promote the debating culture within the ITB community. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you a remarkable individual who epitomizes the essence of dedication, passion, and excellence in the arts and beyond, Miss Vidya Bhavani Suresh. A renowned Bharatanatyam exponent and musicologist, Miss, Miss Vidya is an exceptional public speaker fluent in both English and Tamil, captivating audiences with the elegance and depth of insight. In addition to her artistic pursuits, Vidya Ma'am is the author of the widely acclaimed Demystifying Fine Arts series published by the Skanda Publications. This series, which has reached its 45th title this year, serves as a testament to her commitment to making fine arts accessible and comprehensible to all. Interestingly, Vidya Ma'am's journey took a significant turn 24 years ago when she decided to leave her successful career as a company secretary to co found the Skanda Publications with her husband. Together, they have now dedicated their entire lives to popularizing art and culture, enriching countless lives through their work. Vidya Ma'am's academic credentials are as impressive as her professional accomplishments. She holds a master's degree in folklore from the esteemed St. Xavier's College in Palayamkottai. Her expertise in this field was further recognized with a 2-year fellowship from the Department of Art and Culture, Government of India, to conduct folklore research. Vidya Ma'am is an inspiring example for all of us of how passion and perseverance can lead to extraordinary achievements. Her contribution to the world of art, her scholarly pursuits, and her dedication to her family makes her a true role model for all of us. Thank you, ma'am, for being here with us. You have the floor now.
Thank you, Vivan. That was a very, very wonderful introduction, and it really gets you into the mood of the whole thing. Thanks. Thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. Public speaking is an art which I love very much. Among the many things that I do, this is something which is very close to my heart. I am not saying this because I'm here to talk to you about, how to, make better speakers out of all of you. I'm not saying this because of that. When I started my career in Pune Sugars, and I had a very formal official visiting card, which said, with the company and the company secretary and all that. I had a personal card, as a Bharatanatyam dancer. But apart from that, I got another card printed which said Vidya Bhavani Suresh orator. So passionate I was about public speaking that, I decided, that should be a great part of my identity. But the good thing is about public speaking is it's really an art for all of us. When we talk of people, we say that, this person is, excellent in maths, or, all of you are from the STEM background. Now, incidentally, that's one thing. As a person, I feel very connected with IIT, IITs itself, because my son just graduated from IIT Madras. So he just finished his 4th year electrical engineering from IITM. I love anything to do with IIT. So I'm actually very happy to be talking to all of you. So the best thing about public speaking is it's really an art for all of us. In the sense that, as I was just mentioning, see, we say that, somebody is very gifted in maths, or somebody is excellent in English, or, oh my God, this person started, singing at the age of 2. Born with a lot of musical genius. We say all that. But believe me, nobody is born a public speaker. We are all sailing in the same boat. I really want all of you to take it very seriously that you are as good as the next person. There is no shortcut to becoming a good speaker. One just has to rough it out there. That is how I trained myself. I will just talk to you briefly about my journey, how I started to get it right. I didn't get it right the first time, not the second time, not the third time. So let me just honestly tell you how I developed my public speaking skills. See, when you're in school, there are a host of competitions that are there. There are, essay writing events. I'm talking of the days when I was in school, the early 80s. So there are, events in recitation, there are essay writing. So then you're given big passages, you're just asked to get it all by heart. I mean, poems of great composers of the ancient days, like 13th century text, or like that. Competitions on the Bhagavad Gita, similarly in Tamil, in all the languages. So you're just supposed to learn it all and then reproduce it correctly. Recitation was a big thing. The idea was catch them young. So then when people learn these ancient texts, then they remember it for a lifetime, which is true. So many of that I have learned only through competitions. And then we used to have these essay writing events, and music, of course, was there. Dance was there. Among all this, oratory and debating was also there. So among other events that you would participate, in this also. You may do well and get a prize, you may not. Now, that's fine. The moment you leave school, you get into college, all these recitation kind of events take a backseat. And then in those days, when I was in college, it used to be oratory and debating as the big thing. Our college used to organize, colleges used to organize intercollegiate events, and then you had these Lions, Rotary, and so many other organizations. Virtually, we used to have one event, I guess, every 10 days. The frequency was so great. And the focus was entirely on debate. We had three kinds of events. One was oratory, where the topic would be announced beforehand. So we just had to, prepare our speech, go and deliver it. Usually it would be for 5 minutes, sometimes for 7 minutes. After the 6th minute, the bell would ring, and then you just wind up the speech. And then there used to be debates, where also the topic would be given, and then for and against. So there we were compelled to go as a team. So you had to go as 2 people. And then there was another event which was called extempore, where there would be a big bowl with a lot of topics. So you just go 3 minutes before you get onto the mic, and then you pick a topic, and then you read it, plan your thoughts, and then go on the stage and speak. So these were 3 kinds of events that were there. The first time I went, 5-minute speech, I finished blurting out everything in 3 minutes, and then that's it, done. I spoke so fast, I don't think anyone ever understood what I was saying. Price to dur ki baat hai. I'm happy that I just got on respectfully. The second time, I remember clutching the mic like this. I started to feel sweat all over the place. That was the second time. I even remember the red kurta pajama I was wearing for that event. I've never been so scared in my life. The third time went so-so. I didn't get a prize. The entire first year, I was in and out of so many events, and I never won a single prize. The most embarrassing part of the whole thing is, when you're in college, you are supposed to take permission to go and attend the event. So now you're back the next day, and the professor asks you, what happened? So then you have to, cut a sorry figure and say you didn't win the prize. If you really want to become a good public speaker, you have to brave all this embarrassment, all this, bad performances. My suggestion is, if you really want to make it, look at every opportunity that somebody is giving you to get on the stage and give a speech as a kind of internship. I was just asking Parul, I think the whole debating scene has changed a little today. Whatever it be, somebody is giving you a mic, somebody is letting you speak, just grab it. That is the first step towards becoming a speaker. Don't worry about giving a bad speech. We all start like that. The first respectable prize I won was in the middle of second year. By the time I was in the third year, I was winning every prize. If I go, I would come back with a prize. By then, I knew how to get it right. And I remember once somebody telling me, okay, so you're there, we better not participate. Another person came up to me and said, why don't you start a public speaking class? So that didn't happen overnight. It happened after 2 years of multiple failures. So I'm just trying to boost your morale by telling you that don't be harsh on yourself by trying to get it right at the start. It never happens. But believe me, public speaking is an art worth pursuing. It is an art that will make you successful as a person in every field that you take. If you have to give a presentation, you will do much better if you are a great public speaker, if you have the confidence. So now the point is, once you're on the stage, what are the few tips which I have gained out of my years of experience which will help you? My first suggestion is, don't carry a paper. Don't carry your phone with points. You have to get into the habit of getting it with your memory. That is what will make you an outstanding speaker. You think it's just a piece of paper. What is wrong if I'm just going to look at it? I'm talking to you. I'm looking at the camera, and this is the best eye contact I can maintain because you're all not seated in front of me. But if I was to look at a paper, half my concentration will be in looking at the paper and in also trying to recollect whether I have missed a point or two. Nobody is going to know if you miss a point. If you flip the point and you say the point 3 instead of point 2, nobody is going to know. You just have to make the connect correctly. That is most important. You have to link the points correctly and sound convincing. That is the most important thing. The first tip towards overcoming stage fear, if you are having stage fear, that was the brief that was there for me, how to overcome stage fear, is to just go there and stand and make a small preparatory talk. Give yourself 30 seconds to just say, hello, all of you. I'm so-and-so. I'm here to speak to you about this. Never underestimate the value of the first 3-4 sentences that you speak. That is what is going to put you at ease. Always, forget your competitions, forget all that. Once you're in the real world and you have to address your colleagues, or it is some session where you have to speak, always plan what you have to say. Your talk has to have a start, it has to have a logical finish. And in between, whatever you have to say, always plan. I plan every speech of mine. I never get on to the stage with an unplanned mind. Even today, I've gathered my points. I'm making no secret out of it. I've gathered what I'm supposed to tell you because you're all tuned in. You want to hear, get some valuable tips. I have definitely planned what I have to say. So the first way to becoming a successful speaker is to actually plan exactly what you want to say. Never get into the habit of writing a speech line by line. It will end up being a recitation. You will just recite like a poem, and that is not speaking. Speaking is all about eye contact, putting across a point there. Try to use interesting anecdotes. Try to use quotations if they are relevant. Interesting anecdotes are something which, will make your speech so good. You can definitely draw from your personal experience. You can definitely come up with a story which your lived experience. And believe me, audience are very intelligent. So don't make up a story. The one rule that you have to always remember is to be honest and truthful. People can read through, they can actually look through if you are trying to, concoct something. Avoid unwanted data, unwanted facts and figures if it is not really, really important. If you can do without it, do without it. You see, the attention span of people, they say it is reducing. People are seeing reels, short things. Forget all that. Even otherwise, when somebody is actually sitting there and listening to you, there is only this much that they can take in. So don't make your talk too fast. It need not be slow. Be natural. Stick to your natural pace of talking, because that is most inherent to you, and that will come out well. So stick to that, and that will ensure that the throw, whatever you are able to put out will be perfect. Don't be put off by where you are speaking from. When we were in college, there have been events which were conducted in a classroom where we had a bench. We would just put our hands on the bench, stand, the bench would be half our height, we would speak. There were events which were conducted in air-conditioned auditoriums with a stand mic. There were events where we had a formal podium. Whether you have a podium, whether you have a mic, whether you have a collar mic, that is not relevant to you. None of that should in any way bring down your confidence. You are the person out there. These are all incidentals. Whatever the infrastructure is, you should just focus on making your speech clear and interesting. That should be your focus. Then everything else will stop to matter after that. Talking of anecdotes, if you are using an anecdote, please ensure that the joke is on you. Never use an anecdote which hurts somebody. Never come up with a story that may hurt some sections of people. It is all a very strict no. Keep the anecdote as real as possible and see that you are not poking fun or digging at anyone or anything. You are only allowed to dig at yourself. At this point, I'll actually give you a small example to tell you what I intend by this. One of the Rotary clubs had invited me to give a talk on demystifying Carnatic music. So I wanted to tell them, the people from all walks of life, I wanted to tell them that, look, Carnatic music is for everyone. All of you can enjoy Carnatic music. All that you need is an awareness of the format. You should just know what to expect. This is all I wanted to convey. Because people have this notion in their minds that Carnatic music is very technical. It is very difficult to understand. Once you are in the auditorium, you will feel lost. The person sitting in the next chair will know more than you. People have all these prejudices in their mind. So I just wanted them to feel extremely comfortable that Carnatic music can be understood by everyone. Carnatic music is the classical music of South India. So I just wanted them to feel that, look, I can also enjoy Carnatic music. My idea was to give them that comfort level. So what did I do? I started with an anecdote. So I wanted them to feel comfortable listening to me. I wanted them to be on the same page as me. See, I basically want art and culture to go to everyone. So that was the intention of that talk. So I started off with an actual incident that happened with me. This Mission Impossible series, one of the movies was released. This happened about 5 years back, 5 to 6 years back. Yeah. So I think the twins, the younger two, they were in, I think, 11th standard. This happened at that time. So now I love to spend time with my family, with my kids and my husband. I mean, all of them, they just planned this and I was mighty excited. Now, I went and sat there. Then something was happening. So much of gunfighting action, this, something plutonium ball, something, which will burst. I understood nothing. I was totally lost. And then I'm turning. All of them are, watching the screen like the biggest extravaganza is happening out there. I didn't understand anything. I was just waiting for the intermission to happen. And when it happened, all of them were saying, wow, great car chases, great action. I didn't take anything into my head. I just opened my phone. I did a search and I actually, got into this movie. That is when I understood that this was the 6th of a series. I didn't know even that at that time. So then I actually went, I Googled the story. I tried to understand the context and I understood what were the previous movies that came up. So when everyone in the family was busy going and buying popcorn and that and this, I didn't move from my seat. I did all the homework necessary because I had to understand the second half. And so when the second half started, actually the movie made sense and I enjoyed it immensely. This actually happened. I started the speech with this anecdote. The joke is on me. I am the fool here, right? Going and sitting in Mission Impossible without understanding the context. I could have had the sense to ask my kids, no, which movie are we going? I didn't bother to ask. I thought it's an English movie. I will understand it. And going with them, I was so overjoyed with the thought that we were all going together. So the joke was on me. So what I'm trying to say is, So I mentioned this, and the audience, all of them started to smile, started to laugh. They just eased into it. And then I told them that exactly what I did in the intermission was to understand the context, to understand the format, and to understand the characters. That is exactly what you need to do in Carnatic music to understand a performance. You just need to know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. Now I know. So you just need to know that. And that is what I'm going to tell you today in this talk. I'm going to create that comfort level about Carnatic music. So all of them were now so comfortable. They were so happy. Suddenly they felt that, oh my God, it's not a technical talk. I can actually relate. Now, with this Mission Impossible thing could happen to any. I mean, everyone was really chilled out. I could see the smiles. They were so happy. And then after the entire talk was over, there were so many questions they asked. People were so excited. So I also felt very happy. So what I'm trying to say is that when you quote an anecdote, let it be honest. And always, you see, if it's actually something that's happened in your life, the details will be very, very, very real. Like when it happened, which movie theater, people going for popcorn. See, all those little details you can fill only if it's something that has happened to you. And when you quote an anecdote, a very major tip that I want to give you, never ever boast. You are quoting the anecdote not to talk about yourself. You are being given a platform to speak. I mean, if once you moved out of this competition phase and you're actually addressing a gathering. I mean, you're all from IIT, you are all going to go places. I mean, tomorrow you'll be the CEO and you'll be on the stage talking. Obviously, you are there because you are an important person. So people know, they are waiting to listen to you, giving you that respect. So you don't need to boast. When there's another incident that happened, I think it was 1999. One of our books was being launched, and we called a very eminent person, a big author, and to speak. She started off. I mean, she was just. When I went to, I think America, I was there. I mean, to these places, it had absolutely no relevance. She tried to drag a connection to what she was trying to say. But it was pretty obvious that the purpose of saying that was to tell everybody that she's widely traveled. It made for such a bad speech. So what I'm saying is, avoid that. Don't ever boast. That will never go well with the audience. So try to avoid that. That is something which you should not do. And apart from that, any genuine anecdote is fine. Like, for example, as long as it is relevant, just check for the relevance of the anecdote, and then you can definitely quote it. You can quote anything as long as, see, there was the recent speech. It was addressed to bank employees. So basically, there were people who had put in so many years in employment. So in that speech, when I wanted to make a mention of a toxic employer, to tell them that not everybody is like that, but there are exceptions. And I found a reference to an English movie, Devil Wears Prada, which I found very relevant because it is about an employer who harasses her assistant to such an extent that she is really the example of a toxic employer. So that made sense. So you can make any quote. I made a reference to this in that speech itself. I made a reference to another Hindi movie, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, to say about how a missed birthday, it had relevance at that context. So you can quote anything. And generally, if you're addressing a crowd, try to quote movies which that crowd will understand. It is absolutely fine to mix languages. If you're talking to an audience which is predominantly from the north and all of them understand Hindi, एक दो शब्द हिंदी में बोलने से या हिंदी में switch over करने से कोई issue नहीं है. And if I'm speaking in Tamil Nadu, I always try to switch to Tamil and then switch back to English. It's perfectly accepted. Having said that, if you're going to a place where you don't know the native language, learning one word and then saying it. I've heard people who come to Tamil Nadu and learn the word vanakkam, which means namaste, and say that and say it with such a bad accent. And please believe me, That is a kind of mockery. Don't do that. That's such an old trick, and it feels very bad. Try not to do that. If you really want to quote a language, use a language, make a genuine effort to learn at least 1 or 2 sentences, meaningful sentences, and you can tell them that, look, because I'm here, I try to learn. I hope I'm saying it right. When people say it with an air of superiority, that, look, I've landed from somewhere and I'm here, and okay, now I've tried to learn your language, how bad it feels. That's not necessary. When people listen, they know that you don't know the language. I mean, you will be speaking English, which is fine. An English speech well delivered is much better than trying to, infuse one word of, Tamil or Telugu or Malayalam badly said. Don't do that. So those little things you can definitely keep in mind. And when you are speaking, if you have the advantage of being the first speaker, that's a big advantage because all your points are fresh. You don't know what the other person is going to speak after that, but here you have the full attention of the audience. It's a very lucky place to be. Having said that, if you are the second speaker, it's not such a bad idea. Just remember that whatever points the first person has said, I mean, if it is 2 or 3 chief guests, no harm in just saying that. It's always courtesy to say that was such a wonderful speech delivered by so and so. Even if it was a bad speech, it's courtesy. So you remember to say that was such a wonderful speech, amazing points. So that will put everyone at ease, and then you can actually start and say something beyond that, which is fine. So those are things we can't control. You can't always hope that you'll be the first speaker in competitions, especially if you're not the first speaker and you end up being the second or the third, or sometimes towards the last. There are times when you actually think, oh my God, everything is being done to death. What am I going to do? People are already starting to look tired. But believe me, there have been such events where also prizes have been won, because it is all about your body language. Be confident. Use your hands effectively. Hands are a very, very, very powerful, means of communication. If you look at Bharatanatyam, that is a beauty of Indian art. We use our fingers so extensively, much more than perhaps any form in the world. Our fingers, these mudras, they communicate like words. So what I'm trying to say is hands are a very powerful means of communication. So just get used to using your hands comfortably. That also shows confidence. There is no need, just because there's a podium, you don't have to fix your hands on that all the time. And try not to thump on the podium. That's very bad. That sounds very harsh. Use your hands beautifully. Communicate a point effectively. There's no need to shout. Some people have this habit of thinking that you make a speech with a lot of shouting. That's not necessary. It just has to be conveyed effectively. I have covered a few points. Shall I stop at this phase? I would be happy if you can ask a few questions. That would be great. I want you to ask questions. Please don't put it on the chat box, because we are talking of public speaking. So I'd be happy if you people speak up. Anybody? Parul, Viva? I'm not hearing any voices.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, my question is...
Can I have your name?
Ma'am, my name is Prithviraj Nayak.
Hi, Prithviraj. Please tell me.
Yeah, so, ma'am, when we are speaking on stage, or even when we are at a platform conveying a message, sometimes we tend to forget words, or we tend to repeat words so that we frame another point in our head.
Yes.
And we kind of end up fumbling, or maybe that there's a pause, though we kind of make it a sentence to our next thought, but still I think it remains in our head, because even after the speech is over, you kind of remember, okay, there was that time when I took a pause, not a pause exactly, but I was trying to frame another point. I repeat words that stays with you. So how do you advise we deal with it?
That happens to all of us. My suggestion is, don't look back and beat yourself up. It is part of public speaking to forget, This recent speech, 20 days back, which I gave, right, which has been circulating among all the people in that bank and everything, and people have told me, I have received so many comments about it. There was one very important point I wanted to say about something relating to my daughter and me, some interaction. I totally forgot. After the speech, I thought, my God, I wanted to say this. That is fine. Only you are going to know. Do yourself a favor. Don't go about confessing to your friends. Don't do that. And that pause, it is a pause which only you will know. But try not to look lost. Keep looking at the audience. Maintain a smile. And keep your body language comfortable. And this thought of things going through the brain, that happens to all of us, and it's okay. That's fine. The solution is not to write it down. That's all I'm saying. Because you will never become an outstanding speaker if you have to keep looking at your set of points, and that will affect your throat, that will affect your body language. So if you can train yourself, because a lot of people tell me that even when I give speeches for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I don't have a piece of paper. If you can train yourself, believe me, in the course of life, you will become an exemplary speaker. So that is my suggestion. And don't worry too much. It will be there. You will have that pause in your head. Don't assume that everybody would have sensed it. That is what I'm saying. Nobody would have sensed it. Only you will know. Because you will slow down your speed of speaking by hardly a noticeable, some micro reduction only will be there in your pace, and nobody will sense it. Take it from me. Nobody will sense it. But that's a very, very good question.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I hope my answer was useful.
Yes, ma'am. Very useful. Thank you so much.
My only request is continue to speak. Keep going out there and speaking. Even these things will gradually, start to improve.
Okay, ma'am.
Anyone else?
There's a question on the chat, ma'am.
Please, no chat. Can you please ask the question? Whoever has put it on the chat, can you please ask? I'm here to inspire you people to speak. In the meantime, someone else? Anyone else?
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
My name is Upahar.
Sorry. Once more, can you give me your name?
Upahar.
Upahar. Yes, please tell me.
So, ma'am, my question is how to sound convincing while giving the speeches.
Was I convincing when I spoke to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did I sound convincing?
Yes, ma'am.
You can be honest. Just speak from your heart. Just speak from your heart. You will sound convincing. Speak what you honestly believe in. There is a saying in Tamil which goes, Agattin Alagu Mugattil Theriyum. You know what it means? It means Agam is inside. Agattin Alagu, the beauty of the face, Mugattil Theriyum, will be seen. Agattin Alagu, the beauty of on the inside, Mugattil Theriyum, will show on the face. Your face actually reflects your thoughts more than you know. Our Indian, dance styles focus so much on Mukhaja Abhinaya. Mukhaja means face. Abhinaya is nothing. Abhinaya is just communication, expression. And, the basic crux of Rasa theory that is so relevant to what you just asked me. I will just tell you in brief that should answer your question beautifully. We have a trilogy, Bhava, Abhinaya, Rasa. Bhava is the thoughts that you feel inside. Abhinaya is how it is communicated. It can be communicated through speech, which we call as Vachika Abhinaya. It can be communicated through expression, the face, the eyes, or the hands. All of that is Angika. Angika means Anga. Anga means parts of the body. Angika. So that is Abhinaya. Rasa is the reaction in the audience. See, 2000 years back or even prior to that, our ancient text of dramatology has understood and told us in such great detail the thoughts, the way the thoughts are communicated, and the audience who will receive this and react. That is rasa. So the concept is that you feel deeply, you emote it. For every emotion, there is a corresponding rasa. So for anger, there is a name for the bhava, and that there is a corresponding rasa. So the idea is, whatever is the bhava enacted by the artist on the stage will be received by the audience. And when that happens, that is called rasotpatti. So what is this saying? You have to communicate only what you feel. Everything starts from your feelings. So our ancient Indian texts have given tremendous amount of importance to bhava or feeling. And they have not restricted it to just expressions with the face or the hands. Vachika abhinaya, in fact, is expressing through speech is a very important part of abhinaya. And that is what we do in public speaking. We express through speech. And if it has to be convincing, if it has to move an audience, it has to come from the depth of your heart. You have to feel it deeply. And believe me, public speaking is a beautiful art form. I don't know why I'm a musician myself, why people always say music to my ears. Music is always, overrated, which is good. I'm a musician too. But believe me, nothing can move an audience like a great speech. Speech in itself is a very, very powerful medium. So it is something that can move, vast crowds. You just have to come from a place of honesty. And don't exaggerate. Be truthful. Keep your speech as less pretentious as possible. That will be very convincing. That is how you deliver a convincing speech. Have I answered your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Anything else? I would be so happy if you people ask more questions.
Ma'am,
Yes.
may I ask a question?
Yes.
My name is Arushi, and I wanted to ask you about that. When we have a debate, we have like 8 people speaking in one side. So by the time we reach a 7th or 8th person, all the points are gone, and all the 6 people have spoken so well. I get really scared after that, and I really can like go speak. The points are spoken, and they have spoken it so well. And then I'm really scared. Do you have like any kind of tips or tricks that you can use to really like conquer that fear and be a bit more confident?
This is inherently a very real and a very tough situation. That is what I'm saying. When I used to go for debates, I used to pray that we are one of the early ones. Really, this is a situation. I'm so happy you asked me this, because all the questions that you people are asking can only be asked by people who have actually been on stage and tried out public speaking, because these are questions which come from real experiences, and it makes it so good. I'm so happy that you're asking this. Frankly, in that situation, there is really no shortcut. You can do one thing. You can make an extensive list of points. You can prepare a very exhaustive list. That is the only solution. Have a plan A speech, have a plan B speech. If everything has been spoken, then I'm going to do this. That is the only solution. And you can gracefully say that there are some points I wanted to make, but my learned friends before me have already spoken. Humor will come handy. You can say that, oh my God, these are some brilliant points I wanted to make, but my learned friends before me who've had the advantage of, taking the mic before have already said all that. You must be wondering what I'm going to do, but here I have something more to add, is a line which will come very handy, because you are admitting that you are at a position of disadvantage. So that will work with the judges. It is not your fault that you are the 8th speaker, right? So you can be honest about it, that all this has been said, but that is not going to deter me. I am going to think of something more. So first, I guess the first way to attack this is to honestly admit where you stand. And do it with humor. Do it, with a very happy, jovial smile, with a little bit of taunt that, oh my God, you people are in a better position than me. So you can say that, oh my learned friends, you have had the advantage of speaking before me. And so it looks like all my points have been said, but I still have something more to offer. For that, when the topic is given, you will have to think a little and have some backup points. That is the only thing. But before the backup point, say this line. This will really put the judges at ease. Your goal is not just to make an intelligent speech, but also to get the judges' attention. Now, that is one thing which is very important. Please remember that as you know, the number of speeches go further and further, the judges become mentally tired. So you have to draw their attention. So such liners will really ensure that you have caught their attention. Once you have caught their attention, they may actually, be more willing to listen. And this humor will actually, already put them in. If I was judging, I will think, now, well, this girl has amazing presence of mind. I mean, she's trying to make the best out of the available situation. Already I'll be tuned into listening. That will come very handy.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. One more thing I want to ask. You
Please.
said to use humor and like being humorous or making expression. I'm very bad at making expression. I go like all stiff expression. I can like change the voice and everything, but I can't change the expressions and get very stiff with it. And how would I use humor or all that? Because managing
No,
expressions are difficult.
your voice was going up and down. I didn't fully catch your question. What did you say that you want to improve your?
I want to improve my expressions, like ma'am said that I should use humor or all of that, but I'm not very good at using expressions in like face and showing that okay, fine, I'm taking it jovially or lightly. It comes out as a serious thing and like all the speech. So how do I do that?
Only practice. What I'm saying is, get it wrong 4 times, it will come automatically. You just see now you have already identified the issue that you are not able to use humor so much. Then try it out. Try to crack a joke in one of the speeches. Even if it is not so relevant to the topic, try and fit a joke so that you are able to test your humor expression. And then ask your friends, how did it go? I mean, if somebody is honest enough to give you an opinion. Otherwise, not to worry. In your heart, you will know how it went. Keep trying. Eventually, you will get it. Because there is no such thing as a full stop in learning. We can keep improving, and even at this stage, I try to keep thinking, how can I better my presentation? How can I give a better speech? So now that there's one area you want to work on, so identify it and try to use it in every competition that you can. You will get it wrong 4 times. 5th time, it will settle itself. That is the way we train. See, let me give you an example from my own life. When children come and enroll in a dance school, there are kids who can't even smile. There are kids who are so stiff. But then you have to gently push them and convince them that they are capable. First, you be convinced that you are capable. You don't lose your self-confidence. Don't think that this is something I can't do. You have identified that that's your weak area, but that doesn't mean that it should bring down your confidence. You are fully capable of getting there. The very intention that you want to get there is a great start. So keep working on it and try to include those kinds of things in the speech. Every speech that you give, eventually you will get there. Not to worry at all. That is how we train children in dance. Nobody is a born dancer. So there are a lot of things that come with practice. And believe me, practice is a great way to getting where you want to get, anywhere. If you don't get it right the first time, try again. By the 4th or 5th time, you will be in the right place. Don't get discouraged at all.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, there's a question in the chat. The person's mic is not working, so I'll ask the question for him.
Yeah, please
The
read.
question is, do you believe in God? If yes, no, why? And whatever we speak is due to the blessings of Mata Saraswati. So I want to know how the prayer is going to help me improve in this.
Where did this question come from? See, religion is a very personal choice, so I'm not even commenting on that. So read the question again. Do you believe in God? Then
Do you believe in God? And whatever we speak is due to the blessings of Mata Saraswati.
Correct.
I want to
say,
know.
okay. First of all, I believe in God. I believe in Goddess Saraswati. Then
I want to know how prayer is helping us improve our speaking skills.
prayer is going to help you in everything, in every walk of life. Why are you just putting it to speaking skills? Even Goddess Saraswati will always advise you to practice. What do you do for your exams? You pray and then you study. How much you study? You people have all cracked the JEE. How much you would have studied? So I don't think this question has anything in specific with public speaking. Whatever you want to do in life, you pray to any deity who's your favorite deity. It's a personal choice. And then practice. Please practice. There is absolutely no shortcut towards becoming a great speaker. Just go put yourself out there, fumble 10 times, and the 11th time you get it right. Then, next. Any other questions? I mean, there are about 70 to 80 participants. Only 6 of you are asking. You all want to become public speakers. I think you should first start with, even voicing your questions, if any.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
I'm Rishi.
Yeah, hi, Rishi.
Okay. So, when you are going, when you're trying for a debate competition or anything, what exactly is like your method of, do you write sentences as a whole for subtopics, or do you just like write subtopics and like think of it on the flow? Because like, how do you exactly like get that flow of thinking then and there? I know it's practice, but any tips for it?
Definitely. Till today, I have never ever written a full speech. And if you want to take my advice, don't write a speech. I think I mentioned it even while talking to all of you. Never write a speech. The moment you get into the habit of writing a speech, it will be like reading a poem. So don't do that. Write points. Whatever is the topic. Suppose, say, I knew that I'm going to be talking to you about this. About 2-3 days back, I started to think about it. Now, what am I going to say? I'm going to tell them about how to use an anecdote, what not to use. The joke should never be on the other person. So all these points I had already thought in my mind, right? And I'd also planned the order in which I'm going to say that. I wanted to say that, the point which I mentioned in the beginning, that public speaking is something which everyone can learn. There is no such, it's not like music or maths or, don't you remember I said that at the start? There was a point I had thought of. So I plan what comes after what. You can actually do one thing. Vivan has the link of that recent speech I gave at the bank, UBI. You can ask him to share it with you. Please watch that, because they had given me 20 to 25 minutes to talk about work-life balance. I spoke about 4 points. I said point 1, that speech will actually be very useful for you. Please watch that. All of you can actually watch that. I said point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. I had planned all those points beforehand. All the anecdotes that I was going to say. I had planned everything. But I planned everything in my head. And what comes after what, the flow. See, if you're talking of one point, and then you know how to take it to the next. It should have a logical, it should flow down. And then I decided what I'm going to say after that. And then the 4th point, which I talked about decluttering. And because I knew that it was a offbeat kind of a point, I remember saying, because my son specifically said that was a very nice thing I said, you people may not be convinced, but give it a thought. So he said that got him intrigued to, try and see what I was going to speak. So that I always, I plan in my head what comes after what. When you are making a start in your journey as a public speaker, note down the points. Take a piece of paper and just note down. First you say intro, and then you say point 1, 2, 3, 4, and then conclusion. Have that sketch. And if you're going to give a talk, 3 days later or 4 days later, start preparing 1 week in advance if you know the topic. I always do that. Even today, I do that. I keep thinking, now what should I say? What are the points that will come into it? What will be relevant? What can I include? And then it kind of, forms into a shape. It's like, a complete essay in my head. I plan every word. So you can do that. Just don't write it down. If you want, nowadays, in our days when we were young, recording was a big thing. My mom had got me a small tape recorder with 2 batteries and cassettes, so you could record your speeches. Now it is just one button on the phone. So you can actually record your speech and listen to it and see how the flow is coming. So like the switch from point 1 to point 2, point 2 to point 3, whether it is convincing. Listen to your speech and then try to see if there is somewhere that the link can be improved. And if it can be improved, you can work on it. So by the time you go on stage, if you know the topic beforehand, you can definitely improve it before you go out there. So my suggestion is always plan it, note down the points, and use those points to develop the paragraphs. But don't write down the paragraphs. And in future, when you are doing professional talks, try not to use a PPT. I've seen people use PPTs, and believe me, those speeches are horrible, because they will be looking at the computer doing this, and then they will be turning and showing the PPT on the screen. The eye contact will be lost. And there is always this confidence that there is a PPT which will show me what points I'm supposed to speak, though they will not make an effort to take the flow correctly. So then they will suddenly stop and then say, I'll go to the next point. It's not a class. It's a speech. So try not to use PPTs. So that will be my suggestion. But this flow, you can definitely improve by recording your speech and listening to it and trying and perfecting it before you go on stage.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anything else? Anything else? Because I wanted to also tell you a few ideas about conversation, because that was a topic, right? Let's talk on and off stage. So that's something very brief I wanted to convey. So if we are done with this, shall I move on? Or if there is anything else you want to ask, please feel free. Parul, Vivan, anyone going to ask anything?
No, ma'am, I think you can continue.
Can I continue? We'll just go to the next part of it, which is conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. See, conversation is a very underrated skill. Sorry, before that, there was one point I really wanted to mention. See, such a seasoned speaker, you were asking me about points. There was one beautiful point I wanted to mention, and it's only now that I'm remembering. I'll just do that, and then I'll move to the next one. The biggest advantage of being a public speaker is that it will enhance every other skill of yours. Please take it from me. I am a seasoned Bharatanatyam dancer. There was a time when my mom would joke that it means that you are speaking better than you dance. It was meant in the lighter sense, because the way I used to compare the items, the way I used to explain the dance items would take my dance to a totally different level. So what I'm saying is, in whatever field you are, in whatever profession you are, if you are a public speaker, you will definitely be a much better version of yourself. And in some way, it will also camouflage your other defects. In this context, I have a very cute and humorous story to tell you, to just tell you how much speech comes handy in the most complex situations. This is an incident which happened in my 3rd year of college. I was never the one to, enroll for, these fancy dressing kind of events. That was really not my thing. I don't know what got me excited about an event which was announced, which is called the Brides of India. I think being a dancer, I thought that, the art of, wearing jewelry or, dressing up nicely was not anything new to me. And this was something I'd never done. I actually got excited and I enrolled. Now, the point was, I was not a big sari wearer then. So there was a small issue that I had to alter my mother's blouse, especially the sleeve, to make it fit for me to be worn on the day of the event. What happened is I was half mending it. I'm very good at tailoring, incidentally. But this was something I was just mending with my hand. Somebody knocked the door. Somebody rang the doorbell. I put it there. I don't know how I totally blissfully. Okay. Is the full view?
Yes, ma'am. We can see you now.
You can see me now. Okay. So, 5 minutes wait almost. So, yeah. Sorry about that. So, what was I saying? So, what happened is, so by the time we are just left with, a very, very short time to get ready, and then we open the. Did you hear me till that point? I think till that point, that's where I stopped, right? So then I'm opening and I'm just seeing the blouse with the thread and needle hanging, and naturally we freaked out. So we had no option but just to pull that thread and needle and get ready. And one sleeve was long, and was very loose. So like a very modest bride, we try to cover it with the pallu of the sari. I was the worst dressed bride, believe me. Okay. So then we just rushed to the playground. We had a arts college. It's a women's college, 2,000 strong crowd. Okay, all girls. And by then, two of my friends had already given updates that girls from the other departments had gone to the beauty parlor and they were so impeccably dressed. So now we just go closer to the venue, and suddenly I spot something. You must have guessed it. Mic. On the stage, it was a makeshift stage. In the center of the stage, I don't know for what reason, there was a standing mic. It was just a, Brides of India, a walk-like event. I don't know who thought of putting a mic. The moment I saw the mic, I got so excited. I told my friends, wow, there is a mic. I don't know. I guess my first love in life is the mic. So then there was hardly time. We just had to go. And I from where we were to the 30 seconds, I just planned what I had to say. I just said the first thing that came to my mind. I said, मेरा नाम सोनू है, आज मेरी शादी होने वाली है, जब मेरा बच्चा होगा उसका नाम रखूंगी बंटी, फिर उनको बुलाऊंगी बंटी के पापा. That's all I said. Girls burst out with claps. Everyone was wow, woo, 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 whatever. And I got the second prize. So many departments with the best dressed kids. After that, for the next 2 weeks, it's a very old college and big corridors. Every time we used to walk, somebody would ask me, one of the girls would just stand, Banti ke papa eppadi irkaru? Means, how is Banti's father? I am saying this only to tell you that the worst fiasco was saved because I was able to think on my feet and because I had a mic and I could speak. I am telling you this incident only to just, emphasize the importance of the art of public speaking. Wherever you are, in whatever profession you are, believe me, this skill will really save the day. So hold on to it. It's a great art, and give it time. It will pay you back immensely. You can never make a profession of being a public speaker. Nobody is going to pay you. But it is an art which will make you the best in any profession that you are. You will be the best of the best if you have the confidence to just go out there and say a few words clearly. So this incident I quoted only to tell you this is actually what happened in college. So congrats to all of you for actually taking the effort to becoming great public speakers. So now I'll just move on to give you a few tips about conversation, because that I feel again is a very, very, very underrated skill. Believe me, conversation is also a great skill, and conversation is not talking. Let's first get that clearly. Conversation is listening. That is where most people go wrong. I have seen people.
Hi, ma'am. We're actually running a bit behind time, so
can we then not get into conversation? Shall we? Because I don't want to start something and leave it half done. Are we okay with just finishing about public speaking? I think we are good.
yes, ma'am. Yeah, we're
So
good to go there.
Yeah, good to go. Thank you so much. It was, amazing, talking to all of you. I hope you found, you got some useful tips, I'm sure. I hope. Thank you so much. Yeah, can
Thank
we
you, ma'am.
close?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the
Yes, ma'am.
insightful session.
Thank you, Parul. It was very enjoyable
I think
talking.
all of us who joined, they learned a lot from you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for removing time from your busy slot and coming for this session. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. All the best to every one of you.